All right, this photo we need to go over. These are some special cases with lines with linear equations. And these are facts you just have to memorize. You just have to know and apply them. So, vertical lines, okay? Vertical line goes up and down here. This is an example. And the equation is always x equals a number, okay? This number is the x-intercept. It's the point where the line crosses the x-axis. So, to help you remember everything you need to know for vertical lines, you're going to have to remember this little acronym, VUX, okay? The V is for vertical. So anytime I see a vertical line, the U is for undefined slope. You need to know that fact, because a lot of times what they ask is, oh, write the equation of a line that is undefined and goes through this point, okay? So if it goes through this point, that is your x equals the number, the point of intersection of the x-axis. Now, for horizontal lines, we have this OI, okay? Horizontal lines go left to right. This is an example of a line. H is for horizontal. I'm just going to abbreviate that. O, I put it like O, like a 0 equals 0 slope, and it's y equals a number. That number right here says, I'm pointing to this number symbol because that is the y-intercept, the point where the line crosses the y-axis, okay? So we're going to go through these two special cases, and I'm going to show you some examples of how they would test your knowledge of understanding these special cases on progress learning. All right, so our first set, 1 and 2, says vertical lines are in the form of x equals a. A is the point that is the x-intercept. So if I have x equals -2 here, that means this is the point. Let me just count. That means that this -2 is my a. A equals the -2. Meaning on the x-axis right here, we go to a -2. And that point is -2, 0. Okay? That's the point the line has to go through. So what you would do is, since it's vertical, that means it's going up and down. You would get your ruler. Let me make this a little bit smaller. Oops. And we would move this ruler, line it up. Sorry. Right here at that point, and then draw my line through that point to draw and create the vertical line. So anytime I get the number x equals, that immediately tells me I have to go on the x-axis to where that number is. This is a +3, so 1, 2, 3, there's that point right here. And we would have to put a vertical line up and down through that point. If it's vertical, it only crosses the x-axis. It never touches the y. That's why the slope is undefined. Another way you could think of this is if I'm going to do an undefined, like do the word undefined. Okay. To make this U, I have to start off with making a vertical line to make that U. Okay. So that's another way that can help you recognize the relationship. Now, if I go to the bottom half here, horizontal lines, they have the form y equals b. That b is the y-intercept. So that means that's where I'm going on the y-axis. Here, y equals 4. So on this y-axis, I'm going 1, 2, 3, 4. So that, and put a point right there. And we're creating a horizontal line. That means left and right through that point. Would you try number 8? If we understand what's going on, y equals -5. Most of y'all got the y-intercept down. We had 100% in some classes on that characteristic. So just make sure we're memorizing. This is a horizontal left and right. Now, horizontals, because I go left, right, have a 0 slope. So to write the word 0, 0 slope, okay, to make the z and 0, I have to create right here a horizontal line. So that's another way you can kind of help visualize and memorize. So you're going to be given the equation. You have to either graph it or you're going to be given the graph. So if you look at this next set, and you have to write the equation. So you have to know the difference between vertical and horizontal. Right here, I see this is a vertical line. It touches the line at 1, so this would be x equals 1. Here, if I look at this one, a vertical line again, it touches 1, 2, 3 at a -4, so x equals -4. Now in 5, our vertical line touches at the origin 0, so x equals 0. So your y-axis is a vertical line, but it has this equation, x equals 0. And then here, we have a point touches the x-axis at 5, so this is x equals 5. Okay. On here, describe the equation for each line. Here we have horizontal lines touch right here at the y at 1, so this is y equals 1. See if you can get the next one. Exactly, y equals -3. And then if I go here, this is at 0, y equals 0 is the equation for the x-axis. And last but not least, we should have y equals 2. All right, so these are the facts that you have to memorize and recognize and be able to graph. But let me kind of go through how you're going to problem solve with these facts on your questions on progress learning. Just a second. Okay, so I'm going to go in as a mock student here to help you see your actual algebra assignments. Go to view class by class, and these are some old ones, but this is the new one right here. It's due by next Monday. So right here we have graph and writing learning equations. We're going to go to this expand view so you can see each thing, and we're going to begin this first practice. So we hit begin here. I'm just going to kind of skip around here. I'm just going to model some questions. So it says, what is the slope of the line perpendicular to the y-axis? So think about this. You might have to draw a picture. And like if I had a graph, a coordinate plane, I'm sorry, that's crooked, but basically you would have an x and a y, right? Now, perpendicular means that it intersects it, forming a right angle. So if I'm perpendicular to the y-axis is a vertical line, this would be the perpendicular. So the perpendicular is a horizontal line, which means horizontal lines have 0 slope. Okay, so this is what I'm saying. You have to do a lot of problem solving here, because if I'm talking about a horizontal line, this is maybe when you can memorize these facts here. That's horizontal and that is vertical. So if I'm doing horizontal, this is 0 slope. Okay, and we're gonna get out of this, go to the next question here. The graph of the equation y equals a number. This kind of goes back to what we did on our notes. Y equals a number means, and if you don't see it, I'll go back to that acronym again. HoyVux, V-U-X. Since I have y equals a number, we're talking about here, that number is the y-intercept. So this one means it would have to have a horizontal line with a 0 slope. Okay. The other one, I have to answer. The other one I wanted to talk about, let's see. I'm gonna guess on this one because I want to see a different problem with you. Oh, it told me I did that wrong. We're gonna close that. Here we go. So now you're looking at the graph, and you can physically see that this graph crosses right here the y-axis at 1, 2, 3. So that helps me pick which one is my equation. So because it's a horizontal line, it has to be y equal a number. No x's here. So hopefully we see that is our number. There's another one similar to that. Um, I'm going to pause this and go to the one that I wanted to make sure we see together. So it's just a second. All right, here we go. Horizontal. Take your keywords here. We know it's horizontal. So if it's horizontal, back to what I was saying, your OI, H for horizontal, Y equals the number. That number is the Y coordinate. So if I give you passes through a point, the first number is X, the second number is Y. So that lets me know I'm going through this point, -1. So we should be picking Y equals a -1. Okay, so just kind of wanted to hit those, finish this, and then go to the next problem. There's a little review on how to graph, because this assignment is asking you to write linear equations and to graph them. So there's a review on the graphing when it's in slope intercept form, and then you're going to practice that as well. All right, thanks guys.